Hello, I'm Fabrizio Nastri, the founder of FlexUp, and this is a short demo to help you create your account and onboard you with the FlexUp app. So in this demo, I'm going to demonstrate how you can create your account in the real FlexUp app. But to do so, I will be using the sandbox, which is another environment where you can do some tests. And I'm going to use that environment to show you how to create your account, how to set up your business, how to create the contracts without actually polluting the real database with some fake data. And the third environment that you can check out is the demo environment, where you can actually see some full examples. And I will demonstrate also how you can move around the demo environment to learn more about FlexUp. So the first thing you need to do is to go on the flexup.app URL, which is different from flexup.org. Flexup.org is our information website. There's a lot of information. You should certainly take some time to go around. You can see how FlexUp can work for you based on your profile. Each section has some information about what FlexUp can do for a startup, for example. You can join any one of our workshops to learn more about FlexUp and meet other entrepreneurs and startups. And of course, our blog has a lot of content. We have a summary, a recap of a lot of the workshops that we've done in the past, some in-depth articles that analyze the current economic system and compares it with some of the new ideas that FlexUp is bringing, and some stories from users. So let's just go back to the app. So the first thing you want to do to create an account is to go on the FlexUp app website, sign up, and you need to type this code, right? Without this code, you will not be able to create your account. It's Alpha Tester 2025. And agree to the terms, put your email and password. So I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to do the rest in the sandbox. In fact, you can do it in the sandbox first to get some practice. And once you feel happy, you can go into the main app, but it should be pretty self-explanatory. So in this example, I'm just putting some random email. You put your email, your password, and then you you need to sign up. Sorry. You put your email, some password. You're not a robot. So as soon as you sign up, you're going to get an email. So go to your inbox, check your spam in case you will receive an email from FlexUp. Okay, so when I click on the link in the email, I will be redirected to this page where I can just complete my profile. And then I can add a picture, but that's not required. So there is a wizard that we strongly encourage to take the time to read each of these explanations. There's always on every page a help sign where you can get some information about your current page. And this is your account selector where you can have multiple accounts and you can manage them one by one. So here I've completed the onboarding tour. I can restart it and I can mark it as complete. If you haven't completed it, it will ask you tomorrow to do it again. So as you can see, there's 4 key steps that you can follow in order to set up your personal account. Here you can see that this is your personal account. So you can complete your personal profile. This is required before you can sign any contract through the app. You need to provide all your personal details. Once you've done it, you're going to have a green checkbox. Then you can create a new account for your project. So if you have a startup or if you're a freelance, then you want to separate your personal transactions from your business transactions. You need to create a separate account for that. Or if you're an employee or if you work for a company or a startup, you can ask the company manager to invite you so that you become a member of their account. In that case, you can just send them your private user global ID. So let's start by completing the personal account. And here I'm just going to put some random data. Okay, so I'm going to try to replicate the case study that we have in the sandbox. It's the orbital case study that you will be able to actually see in the demo environment. And you can see here that I provided all the key details, and my legal identification is complete, right? That means that if I go back to the dashboard, now I have a green check mark here. So if you go to our website and you look at the case studies, you will see there's a case study called Orbital. This is a hypothetical simulation with some information, and I'm going to try to replicate some of these elements of this business case into the sandbox. You can actually go into the demo environment and you can log in. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to log in as Orbital, and the password is demo. You can sign in here. And the information about the login information is actually written here in the blog. So you can actually log in yourself. And you will see all the information about this case study. So Lorenzo is the CEO of an incubator. And this incubator, called Nova Labs, is actually hosting a startup with two founders, Roberto and Giorgio. So we're going to do some of the steps here. So I'm the Lorenzo, I'm the incubator manager. Actually, I'm gonna create a new account. You can create a new account from here, or you can create a new account from here. So let's create a new account, and it's going to be an online account. That means it's an account that I will be managing myself, or other people are managing the account. An offline account is when you want to do business with someone that is not using the FlexUp app. So there's no one on the other side actually managing the account, but it allows you to create transaction with a third party that's not using the app. In this case, the incubator is a legal entity, so it is actually incorporated in Italy. It has a registration number and so on. I could also create a sub account if it's a project that is not a separate legal entity, or a grouping if there's many people that want to work together but don't actually create a dedicated legal entity. In this case, the incubator will be a legal entity that is already registered, right? Okay, so in this case, we've created this company. It's a registered SPA in Italy. It has this registration number. Let's say it was created in 2024, Chamber of Commerce. So I am Lorenzo, I'm the manager, and I'm the official representative. So I'm the CEO. You could say, for example, amministratore, that's the official title as a legal representative. We have a registered company with €1 million of capital and a tax ID based in Milano. This is all fake data, of course, right? And basically, a new account has been created for the incubator, and me as a user, I'm now a member of this account. I'm the super admin, and I can see here I'm in the members. I can say that I'm the CEO. Okay, and this is, for example, CEO or Lorenzo at Nova Labs, novalabs.com. And I'm kind of one of the key members. So if I look at the members, I can see that in this account, Nova Labs Incubator, there's one user that is a super admin. I can add other users, right? I can invite other people who are using the FlexUp app. I don't know, I can use, for example, Augusto Carissimo, and then say he can view, he can be a viewer. That means that this new member can access the account and he can see all the transactions. Of course, I send him an invite, he needs to accept it. Or I can say, well, I'm going to retract this invite, so he cannot access this account anymore. So if I go back to the dashboard, I can see a different list of things that I could do as a business. I can create a product. I can sign a contract. I can create an order. I can sign the charter. I can open a bank account or some other wallet. So here, for example, we want to create, as an incubator, we want to create a contract with me, who is the manager of this incubator, so that I can keep track of my contributions and my remuneration with the project. So we can create a new contract, and I confirm that this account will be in euro. Once you create your first contract, you can no longer change the currency of your account. So make sure so the supplier will be Lorenzo, and the client is Nova Lab. So Nova Lab is the current account. Lorenzo is the other account that I had, right? My personal account. And I'm going to create a contract for professional services where, for example, it's going to be a recurring contract every month, starting from June 2024. I'm starting to use FlexUp now, but I've been doing business for the last 2 years. So of course I can create a contract with a past date. So I've been working for Nova Labs since the 1st of June 2024. And I was providing, I don't know, management services as a freelance, and I was paying myself, I don't know, 5,000 euros per month. Okay. And I would say this is per work month, right? So if I work more days or less days, then my salary could go up or down, or I can say, no, it's a fixed salary of 5,000 per calendar month, whatever happens, right? As a freelance, you may want to charge by hour, and then it's a 8-hour day. So if you do 8 hours, it's the same as 1 day. So you can either use working time or calendar time. So here it's going to be a fixed monthly salary, and I want to pay myself 100% on an equity basis. Now that's only possible once I create a charter. So now I'm not going to save the payment structure. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And I'm just going to save this contract. I'm not going to sign it yet. I will first go here to the charter. So of course, you need to maybe take some time to really understand how the FlexUp economic model works, how the FlexUp system works. But to be able to pay yourself as a founder or pay your team members with equity, you first need to create a charter. So the FlexUp Charter is the legal framework that basically explains what the rules of the games are and make sure that you distribute the cash of your business according to the flexible payment system that is being developed by FlexUp. So you can say that Lorenzo will be the secretary of this incubator, or you can search for FlexUp to be the secretary. So let's try to see if I can find FlexUp. No. So before I can add FlexUp as a secretary, I first need to add FlexUp as a third party. In fact, whenever you want to, so let's cancel this for a minute. Whenever you want to do any business with someone, you need to check that they're already in your third party directory. So in this case, I'm just going to search for FlexUp. And now, as you can see, it was pretty easy. FlexUp, I can check FlexUp Société par Action. It's a way of, I want to check that I know who I'm doing business with. And if I have any doubts, I can call FlexUp and say, can you please confirm that your global ID is this? Because people may fake it. They may use a fake name and impersonate someone else. So make sure any transaction you do via the app, you also are in contact with that person outside the app, that you speak to them, that you meet them, that you know who you're doing business with. Okay. So now I can go back to the charter, create the charter, and I can ask FlexUp to be the secretary. What does that mean? So the secretary is the person who has a responsibility to make sure that once you sign the charter, you actually follow the charter and that you manage your business according to the FlexUp economic model. So it's a little bit like if you have an accountant or a lawyer that helps you make sure that you do everything properly. That's the role of the secretary according to the FlexUp system. So we can provide this service, or you can ask another service provider that is a certified FlexUp advisor. He can also act as a secretary. And if you want us to introduce you to a FlexUp advisor in your country, just contact us and we'll find the right person for you. So the idea of the FlexUp Charter is that you agree every month to use the cash available to pay your team or your investors or your suppliers, first with the firm commitments and then with the flex commitments. And at the end of the year, you pay them the equity, so the credits and the tokens. That's the whole purpose of the FlexUp Charter, to split the cash according to the contribution and the level of risk that different parties take. So by default, you do one monthly resolution every month on the 20th day of the month, but you can change that. You can say, we're going to do it on the 25th every month. So every month you see how much cash there is, and that determines how you're going to split it. And of course, in the FlexUp system, we have the concept of tokens, which is a bit like a virtual share. It's like one share of the future profits. And by default, we have a token price that starts at 10, for example, in this case, 10 euros per token. And that price goes up by 25% per year. You can change these parameters, of course. You can say we're going to start at 100 and go up by 15%. And can you issue stocks? Yeah, this is a company that can issue stock. And I want to give the option to all my associates that have tokens. I want to give them the option to convert their tokens into actual shares, right? And so at some stage in the future, they will be able to convert their tokens with one token for each common stock. That's the most simple. I can, of course, add some exceptions, extensions, or parameters to tweak. I need to provide some information here. So basically, incubation of early stage startups. Yeah, that's what this project is all about. Okay, so now I have created the charter. I'm going to take a last look. In fact, I can download it. I can download the Word document. If I want to edit it, I can download the template. But in this case, I'm going to download the PDF file. And it's not ready to sign because this thing usually should be eliminated automatically. There's a little thing that we're gonna fix this, but basically I can just download the charter, delete this. Of course, you can always ask your FlexUp secretary to help you with this to make sure that everything is done properly. So you see that the document has been pre-filled with all the data from the app. So you have the legal identification of FlexUp as a secretary. You have the legal identification of myself, basically my personal account, Lorenzo, with the hypothetical data for that I made, and the description of the project. You see, there are no exceptions, no extensions, no parameters, and then you can just download it and print it. So let's say I'm satisfied with the charter. I can confirm and sign it, and now everything is up to date. I can see that I have a trace of when it has been signed, and I can see what is the current token price. So the current index is 100, and it's going to go up by 15% every day. So in this case, of course, I made a mistake. I forgot that, and I'm happy I made this mistake because a lot of people might do the same mistake. Is that if I want to sign a contract that started in 2024, I need to make sure that this also started in 2024. Okay. So now my charter is active. You can see it's green. Green means active. So we have these status names and symbols that are the same across the app. So you can have a quick idea of the status of any object. So now I want to go back to this contract, which I started to create. But before I do that, I just want to show what happens. Since I created Charter now, I have the option to pay people using credits. This credit has been added automatically to the system. I can also create a new payment structure, and I can say I want to be able to pay people using the Flex. And I'm just going to use the standard Flex payment terms. So now it's been added. Of course, you can create complex payment terms, custom ones, and you can tweak a lot of parameters. But I would say for a first display, I would just stick to the basic ones. And you can see that I have payment structures that include, in this case, they're very simple because there's only 100%, but I can create a complex payment structure. For example, I can say 50% firm plus 50% credit. I'm going to make this a public payment structure. It's going to be one of my favorites for commercial contracts. And I'm going to put 50% firm, standard. I always like to go to the standard one. And then I'm going to go 50% credit standard. Okay. Yeah, so it was successfully created. I don't know why that had this error message, but it was successfully created. This is for funding. It's slightly different. Let me just make it public just in case. But basically for a funding, you need to register the money coming in, which is the funding you receive, and then the credits that you issue in exchange. So with a funding contract, the sum of the tranches should be 0. Whereas for a commercial contract, the sum of the tranches should be 100%. You see, the target sum is 100, the sum is 100, so it's valid. So commercial contracts and funding contracts have different rules for how to create a valid payment structure. But in this case, we have a contract, which is a commercial contract. Now that I have signed a charter, I'm going to say that this contract is subject to the charter. This is absolutely important. It basically means that I can use flexible payments in this contract, and the payments will be based on the cash available in this project, right? So if both Lorenzo and Nova Labs both had a charter, then you need to pick and choose which of the two charter would be applicable. In this case, only one of the two has a charter. In fact, you cannot have create a charter for a personal account, only for a business account. And now I can choose the payment structure that we just created before, 50% firm, 50% credit. And I can just sign this contract. Of course, please take a look to review it. You can see that there's one product. You can see there's one payment structure. I'm just going to go quickly make this the default, and we can update at delivery. So that means every month I can adjust. I say, well, this month I didn't work the full month, so maybe only pay me 4,000 euros. So let's take a last look again. You can see now this is a default product. Default quantity is 1, but sometimes you can change it. So I'm going to sign and send this contract. Now, of course, there was a real contract which I did sign 2 years ago, or maybe I didn't have a real contract and I'm going to sign it today. Let's be honest, I actually signed it today. What is the date today? 10, 16. Okay, I'm signing it today, but with retroactive effect to the 1st of, well, it didn't pick up the date. I don't know why. All right, now let's go back to Lorenzo. So you see, I'm changing account. Now I go into the Lorenzo account. I can see that I received the contract. I can review it. And I can see that everything is okay. For some reason, it didn't register the date. So I'm going to mark this as a bug. Let's try it again. 6/07/16. So it just changed the date at which I did sign it, but it didn't change the signature date. Okay, it's not a big deal. But anyway, now I have this contract and I can create my first order. So I can see now I'm in the order section, and I can say that for the month of June, so 2024, 06, 01, and 2024, 06, what is it, 30? So the first month that I was working under this contract, I charged 5,000 euros. You see, it applied the default product, it applied the default payment structure, and that's it. I don't have to do anything else. Let me just review it. I have 2 tranches, so 50% credit, 50% firm. Why is it 6,000 euros? Because it's 5,000 euros plus 20% VAT. So it's 6,000 euros. Okay, everything looks good. There's only one product. It's fine. Let me just confirm and send. Okay, let's not worry about the dates too much. This is just an example. And then now I switch back to my Nova Labs contract. I can see that this contract is active. There's one order already. And I can see that there's a new order here that just arrived. In fact, I can see here, we have updated UX, but you can see that a contract arrived. So I can review this order. By the way, here we have automatic delivery tracking. That means that as soon as I confirm the order, it means I also confirm and accept the delivery dates and the delivery of this order. That means I agree that Lorenzo worked for the month and that I will now pay him. Okay, so now I mark it as confirmed. And you can see that since it's been confirmed now, the 3 commitments have been created. So there's a commitment to pay the firm 3,000 euros. There's a commitment to pay the credits. Of course, that doesn't have a due date. It will be paid on an annual basis if there's any profits. And because of the risk that I'm taking on the credits, some tokens have been issued. And you can see that the value of the tokens is 80% of the value of the credits. Why? Because the credit payment terms has an 80% risk factor. Now, of course, you can read some of the documentation to understand this more in detail, but basically that's why these tokens were created. Now, if you want to see the details of the token, you can click on it and you can see that the tokens were issued. Let's check the dates. So it's a token that was created because of this 50% credit charge. The date, this is important. So the date was issued on the delivery finish date. Remember, it was the month of June. So it was for the whole month. So starting on the 1st and ending on the 30th of June. And because the payment structure is, the tranche is basically the credit standard is based on delivery finish. If you want to see the details, you can go here. See delivery finish. It's basically the commitment and the tokens are issued on the delivery finish date. So that's why it's always very important. This is the most important thing, is to be very clear on what are the delivery dates and finish. So you can see all your tokens here. And let's just go back and audit this a bit more. You can see that when it was issued, the token index was 101. Remember that it started in June, so 15% after 1 month, it's about 1%. So that's why the token had already increased to 101. So 2,400 euros. So the order amount was 6,000. The credits was 3,000. You applied the 80% risk factor. So the token amount was 2,400. But the token price has increased from 101 to 134 2 years later by 33%. So now the value is 3,192. This is what we call the outstanding amount. In fact, I should not say it's the value. We don't know the value. It's just a way of, it's a bookkeeping basis, right? So now you can go to your equity table and you can see that the incubator manager has 3,000 euros of credits in the equity table of the actual incubator. And what we call equity is the sum of the credits and the tokens. Now, the credits, we don't know when they will be paid. So we have a 80% risk factor. That means we have an 80% discount. So the expected value of the 3,000 euros credit, the expected value, net present value today, is only 600 euros. That's why we issued the tokens, so that the sum of the expected value of the credits and the nominal value of the tokens, the sum of these two is 3,000. So for an investment of 3,000, you get exactly 3,000 of expected equity on that date. But of course, the token price has increased in the meantime, so the value today is a bit more. You can see that, right? So the nominal value of the equity is 5,400, which is the sum of the nominal credits and nominal tokens. The outstanding equity is the sum of the is the sum of the nominal and the outstanding. You see 6,100. But if I discount the credits and I use the expected value, I will see that the expected value is 3,792. So if I were to buy out the equity using a buyout option, I would have to pay the whole outstanding amount. But The expected value today, considering the uncertainty, is 3,792. So this is a nutshell how you would set up your FlexUp account. So the steps are always the same. So you create your personal account, then you create a separate account for your business, either a legal entity or a sub account if you don't have a registered entity. Then if you want to use the FlexUp flexible payment terms, you must create a charter. Once you've created a charter, then you can create some custom payment structure, or you can just use the 100% credit, which is automatically assigned by default. And then you can create contracts with yourself. So it's important that the founder is paying himself using the same system as all the other partners and employees. You can use different amounts, of course, and different level of risks, but the system is the same for everyone. Okay, so this is all I wanted to show at this stage. I hope this was an interesting demo for you. If you have any questions or you want to dig deeper, of course, you can just go to the example, the orbital example on our demo app. And you can see all the contracts and, sorry, you need to go into the orbital account. You will see all the contracts, all the orders. So that's a detailed example. You can, of course, go to our website and you can book a call with one of our team members to answer any questions or to actually help you set up your account. And there's a few more videos that you can watch. There's, again, a lot of resources. You can download some presentations. You can actually download all the contract templates are free for download. They're distributed under the FlexUp license, but basically it means that if you use it for yourself, it's free. And you can, of course, join our workshops to meet us live and discuss your project in a very relaxed environment. And you can read the articles that we wrote following some of the previous workshops. That's it. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.